Drew Carey day, not a John Carey day. You notice the ground's not crunching that much. There's a reason for that. Snowman weather. That's what it is. 0 degrees. We are at freezing. Hallelujah. But it feels damp. That's the thing. You guys in the States, you don't get that brutal cold. But you know what, I actually think the cold is easier to take because it doesn't bite through you with the moisture. So bear with me. I'm getting the legs down on the tripod here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do something. So maybe just try and move stuff around. And got a little bit of news. I can show you. Neighbors have moved in, and have a nice little trailer. Only problem is when you park a trailer like that in the front yard, it's going to create a big barrier for the wind. So this drift here, which is already higher than the hood of the Datsun here, is going to get bigger faster. But you know what? That's what happens. But it is damp. I think the neighbors dug their canoe out. So the boys had asked about the old neighbor's canoe there, and originally they didn't want to sell it, and then about a week and a half ago they came and asked if the boys were still interested, and gave them a reasonable price. I told all 3 boys, none of them jumped. So, not my problem. They wanted a canoe, they could have had one. Don't think I need that running. There we go. So how is everybody out there? I'm doing overall not bad. Can always be better, but you take what you can get. So what do I do here? Okay, there's one section of the tarp here is holding a little more snow than I thought. Just one single section of it though. Other than that, it's not too bad. Wasn't sure if I needed it, so I put my my poor old hoodie that's dying. Hate to lose this one. It was a friend of mine's. My first friend. Met him. Oh, I was maybe 3 years old. And he and his parents moved in down the street from where I lived, and he was about a year younger than me, so he was about 2. So we were pretty well just barely out of diapers when we met, and about 8 years ago, he was killed in a car accident that was caused by road rage. There was apparently a long distance trucker was really pushing some lady in a car, and from what I understand, his actions caused her to swerve violently and lose control of her car. And my friend Coke had the option of hitting her in the driver's door, and this was on a highway, or on a freeway in a city, 60, 70 miles an hour. He had 2 choices to make. One was to hit her dead center in the driver's door, and he had a big Dodge 4x4. Or spin the truck out, which he did, and being a 4x4 and raised up high center of gravity, it flipped over and he was killed. His parents gave me this jacket. They gave me a few other things too. A few pictures of him when he was in his bodybuilding days. He was a bodybuilder and a mechanic for years, and kind of lose touch, and and get in touch with each other once in a while. We'd run into each other every few years. In the early 2000s, at the age of 42, so that would have been 2003, I guess, just before, a couple years before he was killed, he won Best Overall Male in Alberta for bodybuilding. 42 years old. He was a big boy. And like, this fits me, and this was his, and he was also 3 or 4 inches taller than me. But road rage, cost some innocent person their life. And from what I understand, they never did find the truck driver. But we move on. So I've been wearing this for years, and it's rotting, and it's a shame. Actually, it reminds me I should probably go and have a visit with his mom and dad. They're getting up in age. They're in their 80s, and from what I understand, his dad has got Alzheimer's now, and would have been nice to take Mom to visit them, but I don't think she's up for that anymore. She's been having a lot more trouble lately too. So much so that in the last, just since Christmas, it's changed where I can't take her out of the place anymore unless my sister or a very understanding Amber goes with me. Because of Mom's needs in the washroom, I can't help her with that. So it really limits what I can do, taking Mom out for dinner or something. So that kind of hurts. So it really restricts what I can do when I go to visit her. She's had a few falls lately, which doesn't help matters. But not a lot we can do about that. And she's got a place where the place where she's living now, they take such good care of the people there. And there's almost every night there's something to do. One night a week there's a penny bingo. One night a week there's a bingo where they give away little tubes of hand cream or chocolate bars or something like that. And then they, at least once a week, they'll have some kind of entertainer, someone that sings and plays guitar or plays piano, and at least once a week there's somebody there performing. And unfortunately, her health is causing her trouble where she's not able to get out to all of that either. But she's safe, definitely safe. When she fell the last time, she said she laid on the floor for over an hour. She didn't. It was only a couple of minutes because if she'd fallen in the public areas, the whole thing has closed circuit TVs. There's a TV room that I guess she could fall there and not be found. But there's always someone walking around every little while and checking in. And I guess this time she had fallen in her room again. So a little bit bruised, a little bit sore. Luckily didn't break anything, because when you get to be in your 80s, everything gets brittle and you fall. And if you break a hip, people don't seem to recover from that when they get up in age. So it is rather difficult watching a loved one struggling like that, I must admit. But that's life. So what am I going to do out here? Put some stuff away maybe? I feel like doing something, but I don't feel up to doing something. Does that make sense? It does to me. So I think I'll kind of just move and put some stuff around. This tarp is actually not leaking. It's got frost buildup on the inside, and that's melting. That's kind of neat. So I'm gonna let you go. Hope this finds everyone well, and I hope everyone's coming out of that polar vortex that we've been having, where we've been getting minus 50 wind chills, minus 50 Celsius, which equates to minus 58 Fahrenheit. I thought I left all that cold weather behind when I stopped going up north, but apparently not. Except there you'd be hopping off a helicopter skid and sinking. The worst I ever did, I sunk this far. When they land the helicopter, they bump it up and down to pack the snow. And that time it went down far enough that the belly of the aircraft was actually sitting on the snow. So you had to make sure it was all steady, and then you step onto the skid, and then kind of get stuff and pass it out onto the snow, where some of it would sink a bit, and then step off and hope. You never know how deep you're going to go. And the one time I went basically up to about here, and normally you don't, because it's such hard packed snow, because it gets a layer and the snow blows and packs it down. But I guess they'd had a big dump of snow and a lot of drifting, and it hadn't really solidified much. That was a treat, because you have to carry a couple of toolboxes, and various other things. Most of the stuff is usually taken in on a winter road to those sites anyway. So they would drop 45-gallon drums, 55-gallon for the Americans, at the sites, and then come fall you'd have to put them up into the building. So up 3 or 4 stairs into a building. So you'd manhandle the 45-gallon drum of oil into the diesel room. So you'd have enough oil to last till spring at least. But occasionally you'd have to take a battery, and the batteries were those 12-volt ones they use in Caterpillars. Huge, heavy. And you'd have to sling that out of the helicopter, and if it was in the snow, it was terrible to try and move. Now, I miss the camaraderie of the guy I worked with, Brian. He was a good guy. Had the opportunity to fish a couple times, but the farther north you go, the more the tendency is to sit in the bar at night because there's nothing else to do, especially in the winter. So, did our fair share of 12-ounce wrist curls, that's for sure. Anyway, gonna let you go before I babble on too long. It's up to 17 minutes now. So take it easy and have a good one.